What's up, everybody? It's a Blue Drake, and today we'll be listing my top 10 favorite tactical shooters. These are primarily realistic, military-based games and mods that emphasize heavily on teamwork and coordination. Just a disclaimer, this list is purely my opinion and not based off of any official reviews or sales. Alright, let's get started. Number 10, Operation Flashpoint Dragon Rising. So, while Dragon Rising lacked the depth that I would normally expect from a tactical game, it was the first successful attempt in bringing the accessibility and polish of mainstream shooters over to the tactical genre. Now, Dragon Rising did fall short in a lot of ways, especially with its poor multiplayer and lack of modability. However, Dragon Rising did offer stunning visuals at excellent frame rates, exceptional soldier AI, and a beautifully fluid user interface. If anything, Codemasters showed us what a tactical game could look like when developed by a AAA developer, and while I think they absolutely fell short in terms of substance and gameplay, they were still headed in the right direction. Number 9, Insurgency. Both the mod and the official released game. Alright, I'll admit it, Insurgency is plagued by cramped level design and grenade spam. However, the game does do an excellent job modeling player movement and weapon handling. And while matches could get rather frantic at times, it still rewarded teams that worked together and used strategy, which for me made this game a classic. Number 8, SWAT 3. SWAT is a very special breed of game. Instead of simulating large firefights and landscapes, it refocuses on small-scale, squad-based combat that arguably requires an even higher level of tactical skill. And in the days of Doom and Quake, this game helped popularize the idea of a cerebral shooter, and is also why I absolutely believe it deserves a place on this list. Number 7, Delta Force Land Warrior. So, in the same way that SWAT 3 focused on small squad-based combat and close quarters room clearing, Delta Force Land Warrior did the complete opposite, focusing on open-ended, huge missions where you could come at objectives from whatever direction you liked. In many ways, this game was the predecessor to most modern tactical games we know today, shifting the focus over to letting the player make the decisions instead of the game. And while many parts of the game were rather lacking, particularly in the AI, it still had such a good core premise that it didn't matter as much. Number 6, Red Orchestra 2. Red Orchestra 2 is a great game, but in my mind it squanders a lot of its potential on its mission layout and design. What could have been an open-ended strategic game instead turned into a multiplayer meat grinder. However, that is more of a personal opinion than a genuine design flaw, and some argue that the meat grinder approach was pretty realistic for the Russian front during World War II. Regardless, the attention to detail in this game, particularly with the infantry weapons and tanks, is unmatched. And while personally I would like to see the same elements exist in a more open-ended and strategic style of gameplay, I have to admit Red Orchestra 2 is still one of the best tactical games on the market. Number 5, Arma II. While I'm constantly frustrated with Arma's terrible user interface, poor system performance, bad quality control, and overall unnecessary overcomplexity, I would be lying if I didn't say that it's one of the most influential and prominent tactical shooters out there. Arma has absolutely set the bar high in terms of size and scope. And while Arma lacks the depth and detail for most things besides infantry combat, it's one of the only games that lets you experience realistic, joint combat operations on such a massive scale. Hopefully one day we'll see a game that merges the performance and polish of Dragon Rising with the scope and ambition of the Arma series. Number 4. The original Ghost Recon. Ghost Recon is one of the most pivotal tactical games in the genre. By combining the open-ended gameplay and terrain of Delta Force with the deep squad management and tactics of SWAT 3, Ghost Recon was truly groundbreaking for its time. In addition, a solid multiplayer component, excellent user interface, and flawless system performance made this game the standard that all following tactical games would aspire to. Number 3. Hostile Intent, a Half-Life 1 mod. Hostile Intent is absolutely the underdog on this list. However, it uniquely merges the fast one-life gameplay of Counter-Strike with the slow, tactically focused style of games such as SWAT and Rogue Spear. With a small but dedicated player base, Hostile Intent isn't winning any popularity awards, but it was absolutely one of my favorite tactical games of my earlier years. Number 2. Operation Flashpoint, Cold War Crisis. Cold War Crisis was actually co-developed by both the developers of Dragon Rising and also the developers for the Arma series. And in my humble opinion, since the developer split, neither have been able to release a game that surpasses the original. Cold War Crisis, for its time, was considerably ahead of the curve, sporting exceptional detail and scope without sacrificing performance or accessibility. In many ways, I still view new Arma games as merely reskins of the original Cold War Crisis. Number 1. Project Reality, a Battlefield 2 mod. For many of my long-term subscribers, this comes as no surprise. However, Project Reality truly is a testament to what the tactical community can achieve when we band together. Regardless of engine limitations, Project Reality has been able to push the limits of the tactical genre, often developing and including genre-defining features not seen in any other tactical game. In addition, Project Reality sports a media and public relations team rivaling that of professional, funded studios. For a volunteer, community-driven development team, Project Reality is practically indistinguishable from an industry-published game. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have a favorite tactical shooter, be sure to list them in the comments below. For more videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to Blue Drake 42.